Helena, how much time do we have?
10-15 minutes.
10-15 minutes? Okay, cool. So I have some slides and I'm just gonna blow through them in that case. So I wanna talk to you all, you fine folks today. So I have been reminded that I need to double check that my slides are working. So I'm just gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
start.
share your screen on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here, and then I will go ahead and play. Are
Yeah,
my
yeah.
slides?
We say
Thumbs
beautifully.
up?
Yeah.
Beautiful. They have been getting stuck a couple of times. So apologies in advance. But I think that if they get frozen, sometimes I will go a little off book, but if they get frozen, go ahead and unmute yourself, Helena, and let me know. Or you can, because I'm really bad at watching the chat when I'm presenting. So
I'm with you.
I'm just gonna blow right through this. This is technically a 30-minute presentation, but for you lovely folks, I will be just blasting through and cutting right to the quick on everything because time is money, is it not? So let me just jump right in. So I want to take a second to introduce myself. As I mentioned, I am oh, hang on one second. Let me shrink the faces I have here. Okay, wonderful. So as I mentioned, I'm a positioning coach, creative director, and speaker. You can check me out on my site at hilaryweiss.com. I'm here on Twitter and Instagram. You can grab my little freebie, the Statement Piece Framework, which is all about creating your own approach to content and digging into your brain to discover what you really want and need to say. It's a little tool for idea generation for content. And then if you like YouTube, and if you like YouTube marketing shows, I have a little cult hit YouTube marketing talk show called Ham Ya, which stands for Hilary and Margot Yell at Websites. So please, if you have some time, give me a little follow on Instagram or Twitter and shoot me a DM to say hello. I would really love to hear what your number one takeaway is from this session, or if there's anything that you loved or disagreed with, or just come say hey and tell me my white sunglasses looked cool in this photo. That's also okay. But I love connecting with folks. It will be a pleasure to chat with you more and learn a little more about you. So I will just jump right in. We're going to talk about building a personal brand with impact today. So I get this question a lot around how personal branding works. So the question is, do you need a personal brand if you're in corporate or don't plan to run a business? I know we're mostly entrepreneurs here, but it is generally a question that I have. I receive, and there are some of you who may not need, feel like you need a personal brand because business is going well, or you prefer, you know, at this juncture not to be the face, and that's perfectly okay. But a huge number of reasons, some of the biggest reasons for having and developing a personal brand are, you know, if of course to grow your business and attract more clients, that's the big one, right? But also if you want to speak or be kind of an influencer or voice in your industry, if you are interested in creating an education or coaching or consulting arm, having a personal brand of your business, having a personal brand can be so important. If you want to write a book, having a personal brand and following is essential. That's like the only way you get a book deal these days. So those are the points in favor of having a personal brand. And I want to talk to you a little bit about sort of the practical side of approaching that today. So just a quick look at where some good places to start building your personal brand. We are just gonna blow through these. So, I mean, of course, we have your typical platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Meetup, and networking communities like this one. And of course, YouTube. Whoop, that slide just blew right through me, but basically social media, networking groups like this one, and YouTube or places where you want to create content. So the question is, what makes a really powerful personal brand with impact? And there are, in my opinion, 3 key things, and I'm going to break down how to attack each of these as you go. So the first aspect of a powerful personal brand with impact is a deep connection to who you are and what matters to you and what you feel and value. Really what makes personal brands in particular so appealing and stand out is that deep connection to what turns you on, what you believe, what you love and hate in your industry, all of those things, so that you can have those conversations as part of your brand. Consistency is the second one, whether that's aesthetic or ideas or where you're showing up, and then a pattern interrupt wherever possible. And I'll give you a few examples of that in just a moment. So let's see, on the clock here. Okay, now let's break those down. All right, so, and I thank you, I hope everyone's enjoying my mod slides. So how to create a deep a deep connection with your personal brand. What I do want to remind everyone is that it's not instant. You're going to want to try out a few different topics and maybe even platforms and ideas before you really find your voice, and that's okay and normal. I think a lot of folks, when it comes to developing a personal brand, if they don't go viral overnight, they're like, this is trash. Why did I even start? So I just want to remind y'all to be patient. It is a build. And it's really important to create a sustainable practice to content and showing up for that reason. I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. Pay close attention to the things that light you up, delight you, or make you mad in your industry as well. There's a lot of great fodder kind of from those grounds. If you download my freebie, the Statement Piece Framework, this is about digging those kinds of opinions and point of views and personal philosophies out of your brain. So if you need a starting point, you can start there. Start talking more deliberately about the causes, trends, and companies that matter to you. Tag folks when appropriate. And the appeal of this in creating a personal brand is, first of all, not only are you able to sort of show your industry expertise and share your opinions and perspectives on things, but you also can tag businesses and brands so they can see you and often interact with you and share in kind. So it creates that kind of ripple effect of mutual support and promotion, and potentially also getting you seen by bigger platforms and larger audiences. So that's a good way to be positive and really demonstrate your connection to your industry and your opinions and your perspectives on what's working and what's great, and also gives you that little extra visibility boost in the process. So everyone wins. So more about how to create a deep connection with your personal brand. When something matters, inspires, or intrigues you, practice articulating why. And I think this is a lot of what we miss in the content farm space when you're just focused on like getting out a blog post or getting out a LinkedIn post or putting out a post on Instagram. It kind of becomes robotic. But the beauty of personal brands and how to develop a deep personal connection with your audience as a brand is really taking the time to notice what you think. You know, not just abiding by a template, not just abiding by what you think their pain point is and how do you solve their problem, but really engaging in the practice of articulating the way you see the world. Because that, first of all, is going to give you endless content and also helps you develop a point of view that's really going to resonate with your target market. And then consider which aspects of your personal life, if any, you want to show. This is just something I think a lot of y'all already know a lot about personal branding as it stands, but this is something I like to articulate. Like, it's really important to have your own boundaries, especially when you are the face and the brand. So if that means you don't share anything about your personal life, it's just work, that's fine. If it means you keep your kids off social media, fantastic. But you really want to sort of set those boundaries in your mind as you go forward, so you don't necessarily have to do any kind of cleanup down the line. So how to create consistency with your personal brand, with aesthetic or ideas. So I know a lot of people think branding, they think color palettes, they think what Canva template am I going to use for my Instagram? I don't really feel the need to talk about this because the most important aspect of consistency with a personal brand is literally the act of just showing up. Like, it doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't have to be designed to be compelling. What's compelling is, you know, a deep connection to your ideas and those discussions that you want to be having that resonate with your target market. So don't get too totally lost in the sea of aesthetics on your way. So how to create consistency with your personal brand. I recommend picking one platform. Again, you're going to want to experiment. So I'm across a few platforms. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm barely on LinkedIn because I don't love it, but Instagram is basically my main platform at this point. It has generated multiple six figures in revenue for me over the years. I love it. I know how to sell really well on it. So that's kind of my focus. And so my Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn are kind of supplementary. But I focus most of my energy and my team resources. I have a small team and a CMO. I focus those resources on Instagram to great effect. So that's helpful.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Everything okay? So
Amy,
is someone
which class are you in? I could text your teacher.
So I'm muting that person. I think someone's speaking to somebody.
Okay.
Kids at home.
Kids at home. That's
Okay,
fine.
so
All friends two-legged and four are always welcome on these calls. That's the rule. Let me just make sure I'm not muted. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Wonderful. All righty. Okay. So it's best to pick one platform. I think we may need someone else to mute themselves. We got someone.
Yeah,
from
I'm muting.
Sim.
I can't. I'm muted
Yeah,
trying
no
to mute
worries.
everyone. Sorry.
No worries. It happens. I'll give it a second. Let me know when we're good to go.
I think we're good to go.
Class are you in? I think, yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
okay, we've muted him.
Don't worry.
That's all right. Here, I can stop the share for a second.
Where's the person coming from? Who is it?
I don't know. Everyone's muted. That's
Everyone's
so funny.
muted. That's
It's Rafi
Rafi.
Solem is muting and unmuting. Yeah.
okay.
I think everyone's muted
Now.
now.
He's muted now. Everyone else okay. Everyone keep okay. It should be. I'm on it now, making sure everyone should be muted.
Hey, no problem. That's quite all right. It happens. We're blessed to be able to connect across time and space like this, and sometimes there are little hiccups, and that's all right. So in terms of creating consistency, I recommend you plan to show up 2 to 3 times a week on your chosen platform to start, whether it's sharing a long form idea like a blog post or just a short post, a funny photo, a story of customer transformation, whatever that might be. And then think about the type of audience you want to reach and what kind of content that they might find most interesting, but don't prioritize them over enjoying yourself. And I just say that, I think some of the marketing strategists in the room just rolled their eyes, but I do say that because if you want to create consistency and have the energy to show up and do the work to build this personal brand, it's going to be really annoying and frustrating if you're bored out of your board with what you're talking about. So focus on thinking about what you want to be talking about that aligns with who your audience is, and that's going to be your sweet spot. Okay, so you can also break up the content pattern with personal stories about your life. These tend to do super well, even without a clear tie-in. Don't niche down crazy hard right away, but commit to showing up in small ways at first. Eventually, once you settle on a key point of view or topic, show up and speak about that frequently, though of course you can go off book. And then if you have a personal style you love to show off or colors selected, use those across the board so people can spot you. But that's really the purpose of an aesthetic. Like, I think it's more important to develop the idea and focus of your personal brand in terms of content first, and then aesthetic can come after if you like. And then if you don't have an aesthetic and you're ready to decide on a key aesthetic, a creative director or brand strategist can help you with this. I'm also a creative director and brand strategist. So if you need some support on this, get at me. But that's, again, the most important thing is just to make sure you're showing up, period. So let's talk about how to pattern interrupt with your high impact personal brand. And I will talk to you about a few examples of pattern interrupt brands. So don't be afraid to go against the grain. If there's an industry trend that you're seeing that you think is nonsense and you're like, no more of this, absolutely not. If one more person says this to me, I'm going to explode. That's something that you can talk about on your platform, of course, respectfully and with empathy, but don't be afraid to kind of go against industry trends and talk about things that you see under the hood that are working or not. And then start with no. This is what I recommend to all my clients. And that's what I mean by that is start asking yourself when you're thinking about content, what you want to be talking about, how you want to be showing up. What are some ideas, trends, or tools that you really disagree with in your industry? And remember, not all pattern interrupts have to be negative. Kindness can be just as interesting as critique. And this is where we go back to, sharing about brands and ideas and concepts that you love, tagging people, keeping the vibes high and positive. But overall, like how you create the pattern interrupt is just by having these really direct conversations. Don't be scared to share deep level insights only folks in your industry would care about, or folks who have more advanced knowledge. This can be a really powerful flag and the sort of lighthouse for people who may have a little bit more knowledge, whether on the customer side or on the colleague side, to connect with you and understand, like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. And then, come on. Oh, my slides are frozen. Oh, there we go. Wait, hang on. I'm so sorry. I'm afraid to go against the grain.
One of these days today.
Yeah, one of these days.
At every level.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I think it's just cut off the bottom of that slide. That's fine. Okay. And then All right, let me see here. Okay, perfect. So we're almost at the end, folks. So we'll be blasting through these. So I just want to remind you that creating a personal brand takes time and practice. Be patient. Your first priority is how to create consistency with showing up. It's not aesthetics. It's not just a brilliant idea. It's what's going to keep you showing up every day and building this brand. Give yourself space to try and figure out what works and build. And then be patient and don't forget to enjoy yourself. And then there's a lot of silence on your way to making a lot of noise. And this is what I tell my clients who are kind of in the beginning stages of developing a personal brand, that there's this total fear of quiet or making a post and not getting any engagement or responses. And that's what everyone dreads. But actually, if you're starting on the smaller side, that's a gift because it gives you time, space, and the platform to experiment with, make mistakes, test what works, and figure out what does as you grow. So treat it like the blessing it is, and go forth and be awesome. So just a few great personal brands to follow and check out. On LinkedIn, there's Carrie Twig. She goes by Career Stories Carrie. Louis Grenier of Everyone Hates Marketers. Rachel K. Albers of Free School on IG. And then, hang on, so sorry. I don't know why this is going back. Slide problems, y'all. And then Louis, I'll just make this larger and y'all can see the final slide. Louis Grenier of Everyone Hates Marketers. That's a podcast about marketing. He's French. He's a fantastic interviewer. Rachel K. Albers. I don't know if Free School is going on in quite the same way recently, but she was running a really interesting free business school out of her Instagram stories. So that's just one example of how to kind of disrupt the process and platform. And then of course me. So if you want to follow me, you had my social media platforms to check out. So thank you so much for letting me speed through this presentation. These are the places you can find me. And I have a few, I can go, I think 5 minutes over. If y'all have any questions, thank you so much for your time, attention, and brilliance, and for having me, Helena.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was absolutely fantastic.
I have a question.
Round of applause. And we have time for, if Hilary's okay for 5 minutes, then we definitely have time for questions. David, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Instagram, the age groups go up to, I guess, what is it, from 20 to 30, 32, 33. But are you finding that your client base ranges higher demographically in age?
Yes, it does.
So it's counterintuitive. You're basically saying you need to be on Instagram because even though Instagram is giving you this age demographic, it really is not an accurate reflection of what you're seeing as far as the age groups that you're bringing clients in.
I will say, so my industry is I love this question. So thank you for asking this because I think it's a really important distinction. So I mentioned Instagram as my platform. It's very effective for me in my industry and what I do. So I work a lot in the women's online business space. And so ages kind of run the gambit and everyone's very familiar with social media. However, if you do have a bit of a more mature audience, I find a platform called like LinkedIn is often a better place to sort of find them and reach them. But it is interesting that you raise that because Instagram is traditionally seen as a younger platform. However, I have spoken with, met, and closed clients of all ages on the platform because I think that's social media is more and more accessible. I think especially now, after everyone was home, everyone had to learn to use I still haven't figured out TikTok, but everyone had to learn to use Instagram and all these other newer platforms. So that's something to consider. But you want to take into account where you think most of your clients will be spending time. If that's Instagram, great. If that's LinkedIn, fabulous. Facebook, whatever you tend to prefer, and follow your gut and the data.
Awesome. Time for one more question, perhaps? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hilary. So I'm going to put everyone into breakout rooms now. So it's now, again, 10 o'clock Israel time. And I'm not good at maths, so you have to work out what time it is for you. And I'll bring you out in 10 more minutes as well, and then we'll just close the meeting. So yeah.
I will jump out here then. Thank you all so much.
You're amazing.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Take care. And please
come
say hi on social. I'd love to hang with y'all, and I hope to speak to all of you soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Robert, do you want to go into your